Oh, yeah. All right. Let's do this.
Stream today. You cannot underestimate how ahead of the curve you are right now.
Bitcoin looks tired. Altcoins look hungry.
I'm just not quite sure that Bitcoin has any more solves.
I still think this thing is really worth a lot more than it is.
This stuff's spooky, man. These chaos PRZs are intense.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Solana is highly performant and has the team with the experience to support it.
$4,800 Ethereum. That's a big, big move here.
Whatever you do, always play from a position of strength. There we are. We're back. Welcome back, everybody, to DeltaFi Wednesdays with Hxro Labs. Your host, RT, Random Task, myself, next to Rob Levy. It's the Rob Levy and RT show.
Word.
It's looking like it's just us again today. I know Messi was making an effort to get here today, and something came up regarding the fam, so he's working on that. And Dan is entertaining some guests at the office. So you get us, which I'd like to think is our better half. We've got handsome Rob in the house, just bringing in that nice like day 3 shadow. What have you been looking at today? I know there's like FOMC. I didn't watch it today. I missed it. I figured I'd catch the glimpse of whatever's coming up in the market. Looks bullish. What do you think?
I am just happy to have the the FOMC behind us. It's been a rough little stretch ever since the little Omicron variant dump and scam dump when we were in Florida. Bitcoin and crypto in general has vastly underperformed traditional markets since that dump.
Yeah, they're not even looking that bad. If you go over and look at the ES futures, that's the 3 minutes, so you can see today was clearly bullish. But let's zoom out a bit.
No, they're pushing highs. I mean,
yeah, no, they're pushing all-time highs. Never been better, according to this chart, if you don't factor in inflation. So we're at resistance. Let's get bullish at resistance. But and this would be a big break now. This is like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tests. So if we break up from that, you can expect probably an extension, I would think, which would be like.
I mean, are we gonna get a Santa Claus rally?
Christmas
maybe?
Extension to 49. I mean, I don't think we crash before we hit the big friendly round number of 5,000. That's just totally arbitrary analysis. I don't really pay attention to the stocks, as you guys know, but it makes sense. We're riding this trend line, though, from the wrong side. So breaking back above that, probably have a little strength behind it.
Yeah. I do think that
it's ugly.
I don't know who out there reads Arthur Hayes, but he is a fantastic writer. He writes, I think maybe once a month he'll put a post out, and he wrote a good one this week. He wasn't necessarily bearish, but he definitely was cautious just because of what he's seeing in traditional markets, both China, here, the Fed coming into, potential tapering and tightening even. But, the bottom line with how he describes the crypto markets and Bitcoin as the leader is that this truly is probably the only true free market that exists. No lender of last resort, no liquidity provider that's going to come in and rescue. And the fact that we saw Bitcoin and crypto kind of take that dump 15-20% Bitcoin wise, overall crypto was way more, but
let's be real, dude. We're all in altcoins right now.
Yeah, a lot of us are.
Yeah.
A lot of us are. And I think, we'll end up looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart today because
I haven't looked at it in a little while. Let's go see.
It's an interesting little
Oh, wow. And somebody dumped it. I mean, that's probably just weird. Oh,
Yeah,
you know,
'cause how do you
something to
even
do
get
with the coin market cap thing.
Yeah.
It's sitting right at this level that I've had here for a bit. Yeah, I mean, it's banging on the door.
Yeah.
You know, dump it, bounce, weaker bounce, and then down. So like, it doesn't look like it wants to do what pure technicals would tell me it wanted to do, which was really travel up to test some of these resistances. So, you know, fundamentals tend to outweigh technicals. I think the fundamental driver for everything but Bitcoin is stronger than just Bitcoin right now. So we should see this continue to trickle down in the next year or 2 or 3 or 4 or indefinitely, whatever. And, you know, this is around that time when even, you know, rational guys like myself start to ask, like, will Bitcoin dominance ever rally again? Right up here, it seems like it'll never stop, and you can't even imagine altcoins being cool ever again. And now down here, like, and when I start to catch myself thinking that way, I tend to like check myself and, you know, get a little Bitcoin back in the port. But
yeah,
for now, it just looks inevitable that this will break.
I agree. You know, like when I'm thinking of adding Bitcoin, adding alts, some of these alts have just gotten fucking smoked.
Smoked. I mean, the Solana, just because I'm on this one COPE chart, Solana alts have not done anything since Solana summer. Like they didn't, you know, FIDA, everything's coming off. Like since the Solana made those highs, and I say that, let's see, pink list, Solana. Like Solana made this high here. That's when all of its altcoins did really well, right? September.
Yeah.
Solana went on to make new highs. Alts on Solana never followed. So that's like, this was like all by itself. And I was loading up Solana alts thinking like, oh yeah, like they'll go too. They didn't. And they are toast right now, which typically is like, you know, time to pay attention, but I don't know if I'm quite ready yet. Let's see.
Yeah.
Maps. Oh my God. I saw Maps yesterday. It's at all time lows. Who rugged Maps? Look at it. Right on the pip.
Yeah. And even like,
cents.
Listen, Mango Markets, they're solid. They've been a leader. That thing like made a fucking low yesterday.
This is why I get nervous when it's like a new chart. People say like, hey, what do you think of this chart? And they come on the show and they ask, and you know, we chart it for them and it's like right here. And I'm just always like, we don't know, right? You really, especially with new projects, you really, as a trader, as an investor, speculator, you want to give it time. Let's go up here and just draw it up. You know, you want to give it time to come out, you know, have its test rally, and then, you know, pre-sales, whatever, initial buyers, or, you know, they're getting out. They're taking that initial wave of profit before their next vest or whatever. And that's just a fact of life. Don't hate the game, you know, or don't hate the player, hate the game. But like, that's typically how you get that little hype rally. And then you want to build a floor. And that floor can sometimes be at the launch price. It can sometimes be well below, above, but there'll be signs when it's there. And Mango strikes me as that. Like a lot of Solana projects, everything's new. And so it could be a really great project, but you have no idea what the vesting schedules are. They tend to be, you know, not very top heavy. In other words, over time, they're just diluting for a little while. And you get a perfect example with, what was the one from like last summer? Chain. I'll never forget this one because I sold it. And then it went and did the thing. Where's Chain Games? There we go. So this thing, oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, look at this thing. So this was a good example, like a pretty cool project. You know, was like a trust swap launch pad. Trust swap did absolutely bananas off of its launch prices. So there was a lot of hype around this last summer, and it came out, and there was a family friend round, and they dumped, and then there was like depression, and everyone's like, oh, it's a dead project. This is a daily too, right? So this is like September, October, November, and then it just, everyone forgot about it. And then right here, they announced like a PayPal integration, and it was like, oh my God, they're the real deal. And it 100x like in basically, well, very short order. So yeah, waiting now. So point being, a lot of altcoins are in this phase, I think, still. And you just want to let them build that floor, because when it was all said and done, what you got was a W and a breakout and a retest. And there's your, you know, here's your shine.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you,
that's what I'm seeing in Solana projects.
Patience is so key here. I mean,
yeah, look at Oxy's at new lows. I did not see that coming. I mean, yeah, DCing a little bit of this extreme fear in July. That made sense. It did a good rally, got to some chaos levels. So I sold it. Now I'm like, oh, Jesus. Like, that's vesting right there. That's not like, that's not like, there wasn't enough accumulation here, I think, to just cause that kind of selling. But that's like vested holders that maybe got an unlock or something. That's crazy. It's a lot of selling.
Yeah.
So, and it's going to have to go find, it's going to take its time. And we may look back in like 2 years and it'll be like, that's that silly Oxy project, it's so bad. And then like everyone will sit here and not pay attention to it, and it'll get rid of all the sellers, and then it might 100x or 400x. Like, you just never know. But I mean, waiting for those W's is critical. So I think in the majors is kind of where I like to focus. You know me, when there's fear in the market, I tend to try to stay away from, like, be risk off in a risk off market. So I've been wrong all year. I will say this though, you and Dan, you guys, during the dips, you'd be like, oh, well, but when the bounce comes, like Solana and some of the alts will bounce harder than Bitcoin. And you were right. But we're at the end of a year. We're at the end of a potential cycle, whatever that even means anymore. And so I really feel strongly more about like just being a little bit closer to ETH, Bitcoin, AVAX, like my big boys, not trying to get too greasy here.
Man, AVAX put in a fucking great little.
Mostly just said all that so I could plug AVAX. Let's go look at my baby.
I mean, that thing bounced. That bounced before the FOMC. I mean, that was already like getting brought up.
That was moving. And I made this chart for somebody because they asked me today, like, hey, nice candle on AVAX. Should I sell? And I out of curiosity, I was like, okay, not the worst idea if it's a bearish market to like sell some bounces, but there's really two places you want to take profit if that's your plan, and that's at this throwback, which somebody obviously is doing. There's a little bit of selling going on there. That's going to be resistance. And then I typically won't short something unless it gets even up into like that short reload zone. And the reason is you just get this, and then there's a lot of people that once this breaks, they're like, yeah. But then there's a lot of traders like myself who actually were waiting up here. And then you see exhaustion, you see some bearish divergence, you see some lack of volume, and then you can get greasy on the shorts. Having said that, I'm going to have a really hard time shorting AVAX because I think it's undervalued. Yeah. I really do. I'm not planning to short it. But that was my 2 cents on as far as being objective analysis goes.
Yeah. I mean, you like to see it. It's good volume.
I love to see it.
I'll tell you what, I didn't see.
We'll see.
We back? Not back yet.
I don't know. Oh, we might be back. We're back. Yeah, we're back. Nice. We didn't even have to reset the stream. All right. Looks like we are back, fellas. That was probably my firewall. Yeah. So I found a fix weeks ago, and that's why we haven't had this issue in a while. But I didn't do the fix today. Fuck me. It's a firewall. I have to turn off the firewall because firewalls weren't designed for streaming, I guess. You guys are gonna love my new place. I only get 100 megabits per second up there. The new place I'm moving. It's low? Less than I have now, but I don't think it's an issue of speed. Apparently, gigabits per second is a meme, anyways. But I'm getting 1,000 right now, so everything should just be perfect. Again, the issue is not speed, but at the new place, they only offer 100 in that particular region. So hopefully it's not noticeable. It's going to be hardlined all the same, and I think we only use like 25, but we'll see.
So what were we talking? I know I was talking about this absolute bloodletting we've seen in alts over the last week and a half.
Yeah, let's get into that.
I mean, talking about alts losing 40 to 70%.
What are some of the names you're thinking of? Because I've got some that are down like 85 that are ready to go. Yeah, 85. But like big names like Luna and shit. Luna came off.
Luna was actually one of the better performers.
33, only 33. Yeah, for an alt, that's pretty strong.
But what I noticed across the board, volume on all of these massive sell-offs was really light to me. It's just
like lazy.
It was really lazy, and it was more just a lack of liquidity. I think like the volatility of liquidity is just tremendous in crypto, right? It
See, like
feels
they'll pull liquidity on when they want to
Yeah.
just shake you out and then put it back in and build the base. And
It feels like it's so liquid, and then all of a sudden there's no liquidity there. And like I'm watching some of these alts trade lower on nothing. It's like there's no volume going through. And the stuff's selling off hard, like 10, 15, 20% in a day on nothing. And, you know, so when you see that, it's like that makes me want to, okay, if I'm going to buy the dip, like, am I going to buy the dip in Bitcoin, or am I going to buy the dip in some of these alts that literally nuked on nothing, really? And, I mean, like even AVAX today, it's up 20% on a good volume day. That's a big move. I mean, that thing had it was trading in the 70s. When? Yesterday? Last night?
Yeah, I remember Sicarius was online laughing like, I can't believe people sold their AVAX under $80.
Yeah.
I mean, it was at a sick level. Yeah. It's an MA. I've been thinking a lot about this because I go on my phone a lot, you know, just in bed or whatever, and I'll look at the Binance app for charts, and I can't trade there anymore, but I still like to look at it for charts. And their MAs, I feel like, are worth something just because like that's where everyone's looking. And their 99 daily is the one I'm thinking of right now. And it's like this purple line on their thing. And I saw it just sitting on there, and I've seen it react to that quite a bit. And that's where we were sitting. You know, and they have 3, so like there'll be 2 above here, and it was kind of sitting on like on their chart what looks like the floor moving average. That's what it presents itself as. And I did think about loading back yesterday, or you know, but I really did try to commit to myself to say like no big positions or anything until January 1st. So,
yeah,
for better or worse, I am no longer on AVAX like than I was yesterday. But
I mean,
I like
look
the
at
move.
that looks like a God tier indicator right there. Whatever that line is that it went down and kissed.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So that's on Binance. Like, it's almost worth taking a look at, like maybe having a template on my chart. I was thinking about it this morning, actually. I was like, I should just have a template with the Binance moving averages because I only ever see them when I'm on my phone, which is not when I'm trading usually. And sometimes, it'll just come and sit there for like a little longer, and then you get the 12-hour. And right now it kissed one of their other ones. I don't know. I should set it up. It's probably worth it.
Pull that same chart with that 99 right there. Pull that one up for like for Solana. I wonder if
like the whole market just touched the 100
I don't
No, see, and that's not all coins are created equal, my friend.
I hope that's not coming to kiss it on the retest.
Bank of America came out and said that they think Avalanche is a viable successor, replacement, or something for Ethereum. I don't know if they used the word replacement. I don't want to put words in their mouth, but it was a very bullish kind of commentary from Bank of America.
That's just funny in and of itself. Bank of America, it says Avalanche might replace. Like, what the fuck these guys know?
Let's see what they say. Viable alternative. They said it was a viable alternative to Ethereum.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It is. It's EVM,
Can't argue.
Ethereum Virtual Machine. It's Eamon Gunsirer. It's
God King Eamon.
Arrows Capital. It's
Praise be upon him.
You know, Daniel Sesta, the biggest Avalanche developer around.
I love that. He's an Avalanche dev now, but he is in charge of the largest treasury on Avalanche. And he's doing a damn good job with it, I must say. Ethereum for DeFi projects, yeah. So, I mean, Bank of America giving us a shout is never bad. The Senate hearing did mention Abracadabra and MIM the other day, which I thought was hilarious. And then it pumped, it rallied like 26%. What's Spell doing? So we're getting some interesting looks here. Oh, what?
Yes, Spell was rallying today.
What's going on with Spell? Yeah.
Up like 30%. But it's been volatile this week. I mean, this thing traded after the Coinbase listing and all that, trade up above 2 cents after having dumped to like subset 0.7 cents, and then it dumped again, and now it's rallying. I mean, this thing's volatile.
It is, and it's got futures now on FTX, so you got to be aware of that. You can short it. You can hedge out your farming positions or whatever. So there's going to be more advanced strategies being used. It's kind of just at resistance right now, but this is what I look for in a coin. Now, I wish I had a better history. Right now, this thing is weird. My Coin Trader Pro is not giving us the business like we were hoping. Like what is that? So I don't know, but we're going to just look. Like it won't even let me drag it over. Okay. Just had to right click for some reason. Okay, let's do that. So yeah, much richer history. So here, high time frame, we had the sweet spot. So it's like, okay, you know me, anytime it's getting like anything's overheated, I'm not always calling for the reload zone. Nobody likes to visit there, but it's like, hey, that's where I'll start thinking about taking some action. And we came into that, broke below it, blasted above it on nice volume, Tetranode getting involved on Twitter, giving it the nod, the mentions of like zero emissions, the Coinbase listing, the Huobi listing. And then it just came in and was sitting right at that level, which, zoomed in is like the sweet spot of that's where I like to get long after the breakout. So there's something to be said here for Spell in general. I mean, not this exact spot, but just down here.
Yeah.
It's a really nice trade location if you're bullish on, their future, which obviously I am. So it's one I've been watching. I've still got my bag. I'm staking Spell, not doing a whole lot with that, just kind of watching, waiting, hanging out. Until MIM adoption and growth tapers. That's probably more of a signal to me than like a chaos level or a fib extension. I'm just looking for that fundamental signal that it's like, we've absorbed a certain amount and maybe we're getting exhausted on like a fundamental level. And then I can look at it. And feels like that's a long way away. So just chilling.
Yeah. All right. We got a request. It's that time of the show. FTT. They want to look at it.
Oh God. I went and bought FTT last week and didn't do the whole smart thing where, buy a little and check back later. So I picked up a whole buttload right here.
Yeah.
Right at resistance, right? And I was more like, because of my time horizon, I was just thinking, well, I'm going to get it, I'm going to stake it, I'm not going to hold it, so it doesn't matter. But of course, now that it's dropped down, I think I still could have bought it for cheaper, could have averaged in. So I'm a little butthurt about my own decision to ape into that. That was actually the last real AP trade of the year for me. That's when I decided, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Let the year end. It's been a good year. I'm still holding all that FTT. I'm still staking it, and it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not like the end of the world, but yeah, certainly after that drawdown, I was like, that's a lot. So
I'm sticking with it.
I'm not too worried.
Yeah.
I'm more bothered by my approach not being optimal than I am about the short-term outcome of a long-term position, right? This looks good. Let's take a look at why. There's a lot of opinions, and they're not wrong, on like how many bars back you can call a divergence at. I think it's 11. So let's take this with a grain of salt. But all of these new lows have come with higher lows on the RSI. So exactly which part of that you want to point at for a divergence. It could just be these last two here, these here, or just this whole general trend on the 4-hour. And that's the same here. So that's really just a measure of the momentum. The intensity of this down move has started to reduce and even reverse in the face of the continued down move. In other words, it may be preparing to reverse in price. That's what that means for those of you who are watching don't know.
I haven't seen
the momentum indicators.
The T-Whopper in there. It just, the sell-off didn't seem that, it just didn't seem that intense. I don't know. Listen,
did I get the picture?
We're trading a market that is, it's just extremely illiquid. I mean, it feels more liquid than it really is. And
it's illiquid to a scale that we're not used to, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't dump $1 billion on the market, but in stocks you probably could in some.
Yeah. We're just, we're getting 10, 15% moves on, kind of on the regular here. And you just got to be ready. I mean, when you got stuff that moves 10, 15%, then, don't be surprised when you get 30%, 40% moves. Because,
yeah. Like your point is, I think if I'm grabbing what you're saying, you're not giving too much weight to these drawdowns because you're not seeing a whole lot of significant volume. It's kind of like it's just dripping. It's falling 15-20% on very insignificant shifts in the market.
Yeah, that almost feels worse, honestly. Like when
like there's no clear signal.
Right. What, like, okay, whoever just wanted to puke or needed out got out. Right. But when it's just falling on nothing, it's like that makes me feel worse, to be honest, because that just means like it's really, it's Alameda, it's Jump, it's all the market makers in there that are just like, it's just being repriced for nothing. So
playing games.
Yeah, I don't, are they playing games? I mean, it is a big game anyway, but
I'll tell you what I noticed, and this is something that makes me uncomfortable every time I notice it, and I'm starting to get more of like a sixth sense about it, where you can just feel euphoria in the market, and it makes me uncomfortable. Like you just go into telegrams, and there's people that just showed up yesterday telling you how poor you are and how they're going to make it big, and they're doing these calculations that are big and enormous and ridiculous about how rich they're going to be in just 2 months. Like they have no idea what they're doing, and the market fills up with these people that are just punting money into things and they don't know, and they're here clearly because of those extravagant gains that they see coming, in meaning that they're very easy to shake out of the market, right? They're going to be gone when they're down and they're underwater, and like you said, for not much liquidity you can dump the price 15, 20, 30%, which is enough to get rid of that fluff, that little layer of, and that's what I noticed in the spring. Made me uncomfortable. That's what I noticed. I mean, it doesn't take a scientist to see it. I think I got a chart right here where you can actually, there's a scoring mechanism we have for it. And I think we need to pull that up for this conversation. And this is what was making me a little uncomfortable back in November, was this kind of stuff where you get into the 80s on the greed scores. That's the extreme greed. It doesn't usually last very long, except for in like crazy bull runs, which since it's been invented really only existed once, which was last year. Yeah. So it's not like, we're in the 80s, auto sell, because we hit the 80s here, and then we just kept going, and then we just kept going, and then we kept going. But this made me uncomfortable, and I think what you just described is, the consequence of that. You get into a market where there's just a lot of fluff, and there's a lot of people that are very easily shaken out, and you could see it on crypto Twitter. If you want to use Twitter as an example, how quickly people started just freaking out on like 10% drawdowns, and you're like, you just got here, or clearly, you bought really like a lot really by the highs.
Right.
And it's just, that's the signal that the market needs to do this. It needs to reset a little bit.
Yeah.
So
the question, I mean, then the question really is, okay, are we going to, do your squigglies across where it's going to kind of, chop around for a little bit, form a base, or are you going to get a couple big green days? Like, are we going to wake up tomorrow morning and alts are up 25, 30%? I mean,
some of them are up 20, 30% today. So I think if you asked me that yesterday, I'd be like, maybe like from those lows. From today, just having done 30, I still don't think that we're out of it yet. I mean, clearly we can't be because we're still trending down, but like, I'd be hesitant to call, it's all over here. There's nothing that significant other than like a slightly positive FOMC. I mean, maybe what did they say? Did they say they're not going to?
Was it even positive? I don't know. I think it's just more like, all right.
They're not going to taper today, so it's good.
Right. What people's worst fears didn't happen. Like.
Yeah, but like, go ahead.
What were people really worried about? I mean, like,
I wasn't worried. That's why I didn't even watch it. I don't really know much about the FOMC and what all that means, and everyone's like, oh well, like, and I'll just look to other people in my circles to give me the reports on it, or just look at the charts. It's also never something I'm trying to trade, right? There's a lot of people that are like, FOMC day, like if it's something I'm going to long it or short it, and it's a very risky trade. I've never seen anyone go like, oh yes, I'm so glad I traded that. It's extremely challenging. It's priced in, it's not priced in, it's, so I would never recommend anyone rush in to try to trade that on the day. But so I was doing other things this morning, but this is still just trending down. So like I want to see some reversal. I'm not in a rush to put more money at risk. I have bags. I have stables. I feel good about the amount of stables I have. I don't really want to get rid of them yet. One way to put it, which I really appreciated, which I think was Sicarius again on Twitter, he said basically like puked all his bags like a week ago and was just like, I don't care if it's the bottom. I don't care if it's like the pip bottom. I'll put my money back in the market when it's back on easy mode.
Yeah.
I'm like, why not? I love that. I love that thinking, the simplified way of just putting it. Is it easy mode right now? Fuck no. So wait, it'll be on easy mode again. It will be on easy mode again from some price to some price. And that's where I'll make a move with the funds that I have. Other than that, I've got a fuckload of bags still. I've still got my ID bag. I've still got my AVAX. I got time. I got Spell, Ice. I got my bags. So I don't feel underexposed.
Did something happen with ID? I mean, this was a week with like some weird, some shit like.
Did it go? No. ID is just fine. Okay. No, ID is, let's go here. I think we have to go here. It's just doing its thing. It hasn't changed. Nothing's changed. Literally.
Was there a breach
just moving
of
along.
some sorts? I mean, was there some treasury breach?
Oh no, that's Everett EVRT. That's a different one. I know I thought that I was about to put something like that on my Twitter, like not Everest.
Yeah.
There was Everest DAO, which is a stupid rip-off project. You know what's funny? I actually was like not that bullish on them. I think I aped into a little bag at the start because it was hyped and it was launching and it was like it went up a lot. I think I lost money on it, but where is it? It's like deleted now. It was the laziest thing. We should talk about that today actually because this is going to keep happening. It's unfortunate. Basically, yeah, this is their chart from like launch to now, so it's not been great. But they talked about doing options on chain on Avalanche like it was child's play, and I just thought, well, we know that's not true. So I'm bearish on the idea of that. But this wasn't great. Let me find their Twitter. The tweet that I retweeted them because it was like pretty clearly like a soft rug. And I think it's an important topic for us right around now. Yeah, here it is. So let's have a look here. So they came out and just said, we were recently informed that our team wallet was breached. Funds were drained from the lockup contract and are currently being sold on the market. Like, okay, we'll keep you informed. We'll keep our community posted. Like, is that not the laziest, most suspect announcement of a breach ever? Like, we were recently informed that our team wallet was breached. Like, hey, someone just told us we're getting hacked. Like, I don't know. It just read really false to me, and they've done nothing since going live. Nothing that I can see. Not just price-wise, but, like, their Discord, like, all the stuff about them that I was tracking has just been really quiet. And then you get a deep fear in the market, and everything's dumping, and suddenly, oh, sorry, guys, we're leaving. We have no money. So that's, to me, and I could be wrong, maybe the team's watching, they're like, hey, that's not fair. But it looks like a soft rug to me. And that's, you've seen that before. You get a lot of shit coins that just kind of pack up and go when the fruits are not there anymore.
Yeah. It is unfortunate. I know there was another, it was one that I see in my stream a lot, PYR. I haven't touched it. I don't know. That one had I think a little incident, but
let's just check here. Yeah,
it was your tweet that, you're like, oh, it's the time of year.
Yeah, no, definitely not ID. And the thing about ID, it's a weird thing because like I'm not the type to just sit and bag hold. I really am not. I learned that lesson. This is the lesson I learned. Apparently not very well, but like this one's different because of their multi-license. And because of Bob Reed, I've spoken to him. I feel a little different about that relationship just because he's a real person. I've chatted with him. He's legit. I like him a lot. And they spent 3 years getting this license. Like 9 of them exist in the world. And so what? They're just going to pack up because it's a little bearish? I feel like they have a little more staying power based purely on that. And that's where I just don't even look at this bag anymore. And one day, I'm pretty sure it's just going to go beep, 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 beep. And so, I'm my victory dance ready. My victory dance is ready.
I'll be on the front. Man. I'll be right at the rope.
I love you for it. But I could understand anybody else holding this bag if they're like, I'm going to go find opportunities elsewhere. I sized my bag I mean, it's a bag, but it's not like I went and focused on everything else I had and just left it. And now I've kind of like, I'm growing around it. And it's every month, it's like a smaller percentage of my portfolio, not just because it's going down, but because I'm trading the rest of my portfolio up. And someday this will hopefully take over my portfolio again. But
I was looking forward to having Messi here today because I want to, and I'll ask you about it too. But I was thinking about buying a hefty slug of Curve here, and I own it already. But it's one of those things that, like, I'm seeing all these protocols and DAOs. They're buying it. They're angling for more governance, for more
votes.
And, are we? It kind of was slow to bounce when everything else kind of started bouncing. So what are you thinking here? I know you use it. I
use it. I really like Curve as a platform. The Aave 3 pool and the TriCrypto 2 and some of these other protocols that you can just get nice yield on, 20% on Bitcoin, ETH, and stable, and then like 13% on your stables. Now here's the thing: it pays me in Curve tokens. So it is an emission thing. And then, a lot of people say, well, it's net deflationary. There's more locked up than there is being printed. But I don't know how that works. And I really should look into it myself, because in moments like this, here is my big kind of concern with the thesis around income finance, which is what Messi and Noah Seedman and some other guys got me into this year, which is going relatively well. And you make your daily income no matter what. But then the underlying, in this case, CRV, for me so far, has actually gone down more than the yield I made from it, even though most of what I bought was down here. Then I picked some up here, and I've been DCAing into it on these dips. But then I just thought, like, if that yield gets diluted and the underlying gets diluted over time, is it all a wash in the end? And just sitting purely in stables would end up being, give yourself a daily paycheck out of your own stable bag. And I don't know. I don't think anyone does. And it reminds me of masternodes in 2017. And so the big question is, again, right, these nice yields during the bull market, coin prices are high, blah, blah, blah. If we get into sort of an austerity kind of like bear trend, bear cycle, I don't think 2 years, but like some measure of one, how does that reflect? And then how long do you have to hold it to see it bounce back? I don't know. There's a lot of questions. The reason I am not adding to my Curve yet, the last time I added was at about this level, but back here on the dip. We lost this level. We just lost this level. Looking at the moving averages that I like to watch, mostly because you and Dan introduced me to the 12 and 26, they just flipped bearish for the first time really since they flipped bullish back in August. They've just flipped bear. And now we're kind of like, we're trending down. There's no two ways about it. So it is a yield token. There is going to be sell pressure, and in a downtrend, I think it's more farm and dump versus farm and lock. That's my 2 cents. I'm not looking at the chain. So if there's a Curve bro out there who's like, RT, you're way off, let me know. But that's how I see it. And so I want to get into this reload zone if I'm going to be adding. That's really it. I don't need it to go there. I don't care if it goes there, but if it does go there, that's where I'll add. I'm not going to add up here in no man's land after losing this level. I mean, support, breakdown, resistance, like it's leaning bearish to me midterm.
Yeah.
But I still have a third of the bag I had. I did sell some on this bounce because I just thought, once this crossed, and I just thought, you know what? So I sold about 2/3 of my CRV bag, and I'm still getting a decent yield off of what I have left, and I'm going to hold that indefinitely, but I'm more comfortable now, and I'm going to take that, the stables I got from that, and I'm going to put them back in here. So I should up my bag in size if we get into the mid twos.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm short.
Were you the Curve that you would earn? Were you dumping it on the daily?
Not daily, but like weekly. I was looking at it. It's you get three things. You get convex, you get Curve, you get 3 pool, and I was selling it because that's the whole point for me. Is like it's an income play, and if I just compound and compound and compound, and then it drops. It's a tricky thing. I'm new to it. So for now, I'm like, I don't really have a set strategy. Now in 6 months, if I look and say, ooh, I should have been holding, like I'll reassess the data and I'll say, maybe I can start holding some and selling some. But for now, it's I've been selling it and putting it in those profits. I just stick them into the 3 pool, which is like straight stables, and that's got a yield too, but it's like a stable one. So I'm playing it kind of conservative right now. And not just because of like the last 3 weeks of price action. I'm generally thinking like I don't need to take the kind of risk I've typically taken in the past. You know, I'm looking at some of these yields that are coming out on Curve, and I'm like, damn, like on actual Curve finance on AVAX, and I'm like, I could live off that. You know, not like a king, not like a rich man, but like I could get by on that. And if that's my new bottom line, barring, you know, exploits and shit, then I fucks with that, and I'll grow, you know, my other risk account back to something else later. Like, so that's kind of where I'm at. I like Curve a lot, so I will be buying it back, either down through this, or I'll probably FOMO in on some dip later if it goes up.
Yeah. How about we got some requests for one of your other babies, Time.
Ooh, Time's had a rough week. We could talk about Time. Time. It's time to talk about Time. Looks like it's at 32. 32. I don't know how many liquidations happened, but there was a lot. And ChartX just sucks. There, I said it. ChartX has been giving me a hard time all friggin' week. Look at this thing. Now, I look at this and I just see like a pretty normal chart, like for crypto, especially what we just talked about, the kind of like, you know, the launch hype.
Now that appears to be some volume on that downstroke.
There will be, because it's a ton of selling. There was a ton of selling near the lows. I actually have a cool chart. Let me see if I can find it.
I don't see many other charts. Yeah, like this one, this last dump.
Let me show you this. I got a cool chart here. See if it'll pop up. Yeah, look at that. That's the 1 minute at the lows the other day. That's liquidations. So a lot of people were just getting liquidated in the high twos. I mean, it touched down to 2,400. It bounced 30% in like a minute. So this to me, and the reason I captured that picture is because I was like, holy shit, like look at that. I was just like wicks, and then just recover. So, and then actually some FOMO buying wicks here. So we could look at the 1 minute if this thing would just bloody work. This chart, I don't trust the 1 minutes on this one, I don't think, because this one's weird. It just doesn't give you the cleanest data. It's like coin market cap data, which we know is...
coin market cap was all fucked up this week.
I know. It's not the week to be looking at that data. But let's take a look here. There we go. So, okay. Yeah, I mean, look, it's the funny thing is, like, I get it. If you're like sitting here like, oh, it hurts, it burns. Trust me, dude, I've got a bag of time. I feel it. I feel it in my bones. It's my largest position still, despite this drawdown. It was my largest, continues to be. But this is standard stuff when you look at TA from my perspective, where you just get up into like some extension zones and then you come back into a reload zone. And the sentiment is always, it's uncanny, you know, like up here, it's like, God, King Daniel, take us to the promised land. We'll do anything you want. And then down here, a lot of those same voices are just like, oh my God, who's managing this treasury? Can't the devs do something? This is all a big scam. Not everybody, but the Discord was a mess. The Telegram, a mess. And it's sad because during this and all the hype, I know that, you know, you look in that Telegram and people are telling you about how many Lambos are going to buy next month off their $400 investment. And I'm just like, y'all motherfuckers don't know what's coming. And if you talk about what you think might happen, you get roasted and walked out on a pitchfork, you know, and nobody cares. Nobody listens. So I just stay quiet. I've learned that over the years. And here we are in the sweet spot, and all I can think is like, do I want to buy some more? I don't know. I mean,
you buy it and you'd immediately just stake it, right? I mean,
that's the thing. So if it's like, usually I would say, oh, you know, what's the rush? Don't get stuck in a bag like I did. Wait for something like this. Wait for the breakout. But this chop is so valuable because of the staking rewards, if that's what we do. Obviously, the fear at this point is like, ooh, what if it's just like everyone's just in sell the rewards mode now, and it just keeps going, and it just ends up being like a $50 coin. In which case, you know, sell and run for the hills. But I don't know what to expect. I'm not doing that kind of panic exit here. I took out what I needed to throughout. Like I've been kind of like skimming bits in here and there and rewards. And then now I'm just going to kind of 3-3 it for a little bit, I think. That's my best guess today. I'd like to see some strength, though. Like you do want to see the whales giving it like a nod of approval sometime soon.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's a little bit of volume picking up, so we'll see. But I'm not worried about the sentiment. You know, people are saying, "Oh, Sifu managing the treasury, blah blah blah." Like everyone's going to be in witch hunt mode during this kind of stuff, and that's totally normal in any coin, in any market. You get into these reload zones, and it's like traders or patient traders are like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, it's my buy zone," and the crowd is like, it's a scam, and that's normal. And in fact, I almost look for that for buy signals where it's just like, okay, this is like peak Wojak. There's no more depths of despair we could get to.
It's fucking Goblin Town.
Goblin Town. If we're not there yet, we're very fucking close sentiment wise. So I'm keeping a really close eye on this, not only because I've got a position in it, but because I'd like to see if there's an opportunity for me to get some back that maybe I skimmed before. So
the emotional roller coaster of this stuff when you know you just went through just a mind-bending rally, and then you know you're feeling so good, and you literally watch it go down 60%, or like big numbers. It's really, I mean, these are full cycles that in assets of you know yesteryear would take
40 years.
A long time to play out.
Yeah, like 40-year fear and greed cycles, isn't it? 40, 100?
I mean,
there's a bunch, but
we're literally seeing these in days.
Yeah.
And the emotional, it's hard.
Well, look at this. I mean, look, it's hard for me as someone who, you know, cares about people generally. Like when I see someone who comes in, and I've seen people in chat that are just like, "Hey, I've got my kid's college fund. What do you think I should invest it in?" And I'm just like, "Nothing, bro. Get the fuck out of here with that. It's pure, like it's, you know, peak greed." But you can't tell them that. Someone goes, "You're a bear. Get out of my community, fodder." And you just get like, I stopped engaging with communities for the most part like 2 years ago. But like it is painful because you go back into the chat today and there's guys in there that are just like, "Will it ever come back? I'm so fucking hurt. I'm underwater." And I feel their pain. I've been underwater deeply, especially in my first year. So I feel for that, but there's so much you can do and there's only so much you can do. So we're here. We're on YouTube, you know, putting out some stuff on Twitter, trying to like, you know, paint the good path. But at the end of the day, there's people that are going to buy every bag, and this is a crazy thought. Every single dead coin that exists that's in someone's wallet.
Yeah.
That hit me different like a year ago when someone told me that. They're just like, just remember, every coin that never came back is like someone bought it for the last time and then it's in their wallet. That's a sad thought, but it is, fuck man. It is kind of the cutthroat reality of markets. Markets will take every dollar you have, not participants, not someone somewhere else. The market, think of it as its own beast. It will take everything you have if you give it away. So you have to protect your funds, and we talked about that ad nauseum here. So, you know, I'll do my best to never sit here and be like so excited about the coins when they're up here, just because even if they go to here, like I just know that that's not the zone. These are the zones. So these are the zones. Ohm is one you can't forget about. If you like time, if you like the 3-3 memes, if you want to be into this fork stuff, Ohm is the king. It is still the leader, and it is at the 88.6, checking this Wyckoff level. Probably some signs of divergence here if we took a look on some momentum indicators. Not really, although again, this is weird data. It's CoinMarketCap. But yeah, the RSI is starting to tick up as we slide down here. So I really like Ohm at 360, 370, and I was saying that like a week or two ago, and then I didn't pick it up at this wick. I looked at it yesterday. I was like, oh, we're at the level where I said I would buy, and I didn't go buy it right away, but fuck it, we're close enough. So I've never held any Ohm. I might actually pick some up here.
And let me ask you something. What do you think the beta is between like Ohm and time though? You know, like
I think time's better, but I have some.
Bag, right?
Yeah, it's my biggest bag. I don't need more of that, right? I'd like to.
Kind of like long in your longs with Ohm. It's like, all right.
Same thing.
I don't know. It maybe not.
Yeah, like if I think they're both staying, right? Like I don't think it's like, ooh, like, you know, Wonderland needs Ohm to survive anymore. Like I think they're both kind of independent. I mean, Time has like 190,000 wallets right now staking it. So, but I don't know. Ohm that's cheap and just being an Ohmie and getting a little bit of Ohm. Maybe I'm crazy, but I've always thought it'd be cool. I'll grab a bag if it's super cheap and depressed, and it looks like it right now.
It is. That's the level you want to be. I mean,
and I like income. I like the yields, right?
It's easier to have conviction there, honestly. Like,
yeah, what's my downside? 0 always, but at least it's like less of a ride. I mean, yeah, buying and what are you buying, right? You're buying someone's puke.
Yeah.
You know, you're not buying a dream, you're not buying a promise, you're not buying like a little bit of fear. Like this was where it gave up, right? You got this level here, bing, 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 drop, and now we've just let the friggin' pants fall off this thing. Like this is where I like to get a little bit buy-y. So yeah, I
will say, you know, Phantom FTM is one that has had a really, it's been a good year for Phantom holders, even though it's well off the highs. But I remember like a month and a half ago, whatever it was, we did one of our streams, and the thing was still at like 220, 230, and you're like, I'm not, you know, my bids are at 142, you know, and I was like, you know what, man, it's a big drop from here.
That'd be nasty. I remember thinking it. I was feeling bad when I said it. I was like, you know, nobody wants to hear it. They come to the show to hear hope, and it's hard to talk about bearish things during bullish markets. But this was a breakdown. This was clear as day. Right? I think we were like right around here.
Yeah.
You know, and I was just like, and it did bounce, and it looked really bullish, just into resistance, and then fail. And you could see as soon as it got rejected here, it was just rug. It was just like, basically, like 10 days later, it's just like 40% drop or whatever that is.
But you know,
55. Yeah. So it's getting into my zone. It's in the reload zone. I'm interested again. I've also never really held FTM except for gas, so I'd like to get a bag. I like the project.
Yeah. How about Algo? So let's take a look at some other layer one.
I made an Algo wallet, as you know. I'm not going to talk about that coin yet.
Yeah.
Simply because there might only be 3 sellers in the entire world, and I want to buy them. I want to buy from all 3 of them. But I am hunting an algo coin for 2022, and I mean it's a high risk coin. It's probably just doing everyone a favor not mentioning it, but I've been messing around with algo. Apparently, good thing I didn't buy any algo yet. But I did make a wallet, and the transfers are fast. Can confirm, fairly cheap. Yeah. Fairly instantaneous, and yeah, I'm sure next year is going to be a good year for them. Like, it feels like it will be, you know, with how many times you just hear about algo, and it's like, well, eventually they have to have some on-chain shit and some bridges. So
I don't know about the chart though. It's not.
Yeah, I don't like that. that breakdown. This was a level I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know, really nice consolidation here, kind of like MATIC before it went on its absurd run. Didn't catch it this time. It is in the reload zone though.
Yeah.
This is not pump chaser zone season. This is like cool your jets and wait for the patient entries at the 76s, 702s, 886s. So I think dollar cost averaging needs to be my new play. Probably the best trade I made in 2021, like this year, was like that Solana stuff in the Julys, and I didn't take much size, but like I averaged in slowly, and then I averaged out pretty close to their highs. Like that was like, I just need to do that from now on. So, and the key to that was that I stopped sweating the like leverage, certainly not much size. Like I was just like, I'll just put in, you know, a few $100 like every couple of days for a few weeks, and then, or whatever it was, you know, it was a little more than that, but it was like, you know, it was an amount that I was comfortable with not giving a shit about for months, and it worked. So maybe like stop thinking about it, RT. Just go, you know, buy a little friggin' algo today. Buy a little FTM. You know, start building my bags, because I do think if I move slow enough that, you know, won't get caught with my pants down. It'll be good.
You know, let's take a look. One we've spoken about, and this it's gotten smoked. RUNE. Let's look at Thorchain.
I haven't looked at this one since I sold it.
We had a great setup back then. That was a great trade. You made a great trade on it. I held on.
Very short term, very short term. Yeah. It was. Yeah, it sucked. I mean, we thought, this kind of breakout after huge consolidation, and then you get a breakout and then a retest. I thought that's and I longed it, but it didn't last, sadly. That's the kind of market moment where you're like thinking up here.
Yeah.
So, but hey.
And it could have. And look, like others did. MATIC did. A bunch of others went on to glory.
Yeah. Yeah, we should look at MATIC. So it's at the sweet spot. The whole market right now seems to be living in this little zone, which typically.
Someone's asking, did RUNE get exploited? It did, but they, I think they handled it well, and they
twice, but not again, did it?
No.
Twice back here. There was two. I think maybe here, maybe here. But then look at the bid. This was why I found it interesting. Right, 2 exploits. The bottom comes in July 19th, and then monster volume. Like that's like whales pounding the buy, just weeks after 2 different exploits. So it was also people pounding the sell too, though. That's the whole thing. Like when I zoom into those big ass volume below, like what it is it's capitulation by a lot of people, and yes, there are buyers there. But the idea is like you net it out, and it's like more buying than selling and a lot of action. So you think it's net bullish? No.
The first few candles, to me, it was a lot. It was sellers that were selling into buyers who were like, okay, I'll take it. But all
right, Sherlock, let's go zoom in on this here. And
I try to look at this all the time. Like,
let's get in here. Where is it? There it is. Oh, see, it's funny, and that depending on your bias, right? You're like, I'll take this time frame, sir, for 500, Alex, because that's bullish. Yeah, no, you're right.
See where the initial that was fucking capitch, right?
Yeah, that looks like exploit though. That's not, because it's not even new lows. Capitulation marks the low usually, right?
Yeah.
So this looks like the exploit, just a monster candle, sell it all, big dump, 4 million coins, whatever it was. I don't know.
But you can see that the buyers did step in there later. Like a couple of days later, it's all that's on balance buying.
This is a bullish shift. I mean, especially if you look prior. So you're just like, okay, like bearish, not that exciting, drippy market, and then it's like boom, and then it's just like buy. Like that's the kicking off of the reversal, which is nice to see.
Yeah, but that thing rallied. I mean, so what were the lows? $3?
Yeah, 3, pretty much 3.
And that thing rallied then up to $16-17.
Yeah.
So it
peaked at the breakdown point of like the previous highs. So like basically, the market structure fail back in May marked the new highs, which is, it's not written here on the chart, but that's the short reload zone. So like for all this RLZ trading I like to do back and forth and fib pong, and that's, you can see it here just in your mind's eye. Like that's right into the, that's the zone. I mean, look at it. It friggin' tagged the 786. God, I love fibs.
Yeah. Well, so like, right here, what do you think?
Just about pipped it.
What do you think here? I mean,
this is where I think long. It's not automatic long, but it's definitely where I'm like, if I'm doing anything.
Yeah. I mean, if you hit gun to your head here, do you think you think this thing's gonna maybe see a little more downside, or are you?
Well, gun to my head, I need a conviction answer. I can't say maybe gonna, maybe see. So give me an A/B.
I don't like. I'm looking back. I'm looking back a little bit, and it tested this level and it bounced a couple times, But now it seems like it actually is a little.
It's drippy.
Yeah.
Let's give it a daily. At this point, I'm not trading much beneath like the daily, and then if I'm looking for an entry, I go to the 4-hour maybe, but not much below that. Look, I bet that the RSI is starting to climb, like a lot of stuff is, or at least it stopped going down. So the momentum is like it's not coming down with price; it's almost internally showing a little bit of strength. So it does look lazy here on the sell side. In other words, it's like they're kind of getting exhausted. There's not too many people at this price at this moment that want to sell anymore. That's kind of my vibe. And so the question then is, actually, we should even be drawing that differently. Let's reset. This is an old crusty chart. Let's go. This is really the fib that I'd be working with now, and it's at the 786. Yeah, no, it's a buy for me here. If guns to my head, and then it's just a question of like, how long am I waiting? The problem is, and this is where it's not a yield token. I don't have 70,000% APY, right?
Yeah.
So it's like most likely it's like something like this now for a little bit. Like, and we've seen that, right? Just, I mean, that's actually pretty good upside, but it's like just sideways for weeks here through October. So with all of these coins, I feel like my Christmas especially would be better served just waiting and letting those floors form, because if they don't form, then you save some money. And if they do form, then you didn't miss anything. And then you can come in, and maybe it's January, maybe it's February, whatever it is. And there's just that little uptick in volume, and a buyer steps in and a buyer steps in. And then usually you can even let that play out and wait. And then there's like one more puke, and then you can, and this is like every time that's what I'm looking for. Yeah. And I've just learned to wait for that. And so as much as I'd love to be like a fancy, like little wedge trader and catch like a nice thing, and, you know, we go back up to this resistance, and then it's like, well, there's a trade in there, and it's coming soon, I bet. But it's not really my style. My New Year's resolution is to trade less next year. You know, yield farms, get into midterm swings during deep fear and depression. You know, wait until like a few months later we cook up into greed and craziness, and then get back into my yield farm and sit there for a crust bucket month or two until we get back into fear. That's how I'd like to live my life next year. We're going to try that.
Yeah.
I don't need all the rest of that shit. And my accountant certainly would love for me to keep trading the way I've been trading. That shit's starting to add up, the hours. So I'd like to have less work for him.
Trade more.
Trade more. Scalping daily.
Yeah.
It's absurd, dude. You market buy. First of all, you market buy something on FTX, and it's like 70 transactions.
Oh, I know.
Right? You get like a $3,000 market buy of something, and it's like your accountant has like 6 hours of work to do. Like it's just ridiculous. Yeah. So.
Well, do they really have to?
I don't know. I'm just getting taken to town. No, he's a good dude. I think it's more just that my shit's been a mess this year because I didn't think I was going to do all those calculations, and then I decided I will. Yeah. I was just going to like net it out at the end and pay the tax, but now I'm like, no, let's do it right. So.
Yeah. All right, let's look at Polkadot. We got some Polkadot requests. Listen, L1s.
Look at Dot.
I love looking at the layer one.
Oh no, it's sitting in the
space. Oh,
look at this though. Like, you know, it's the same thing across the market, and this is what I love about altcoins. You know, I mean, there's more. What is it? Parity, less parity. The thing where they separate, like, they're still kind of all moving together. And the bigger names, the bluer chippers, the bluer the chip, the better the dip.
The juice.
The sweeter the juice. Like, I don't know. They're all looking the same right now. They're all doing this little weird trickle down. I bet, you know, same thing. Like RSI starting to trickle up. So we're seeing it all, and they're all going to hit or they're all going to miss.
Yeah.
So find your narrative. You know, I would say look at 10 that we've looked at today, like FTM, Dot, RUNE. Not as much algo. That thing just looks like it's still free falling. But like find every coin that's just doing this, like wedging into like an RSI divergence in the reload zone. And then find one that has like a catalyst this month, next month, something that people can start buzzing about. And that's the one I would choose. And I would just probably, you know, if I really wanted to, I'd trade it, I'd long it.
Yeah.
There's a setup. Definitely there's a setup brewing here. I'm just feeling, I've already said that, but I'm feeling like an analyst now for the last part of the year. I'm not really too much into the tradies. An analyst.
Let's pull up. Let's see. We're hitting, guys. If you got some requests. I mean, we don't want to do like the fucking lowest micro cap shit coins.
We should talk about DUSK. DUSK is taking the headlines right now. It is doing, you know, squiggly.
Whoa.
So I'm really glad that we have an example of what I think is going to happen for all the coins we just talked about. I didn't plan this, by the way, but it looks like I did draw a squiggly that was very offside from the day I wrote it. Price bounced, but it ended up being kind of what I was trying to explain, which was let it chop sideways through the reload zone.
It looks like you're squiggly. You're not going to have the right length on your squiggly every time.
No, I'm just teasing. Like, it's just like it bounced right away, and I literally was like, it's going to go straight down. But it's more, again, what we've been doing today is like just painting this picture of what to expect in reload zones. It's not fast, it's not cute, and it's never going to go as quick as you want.
That is a multi-month. I mean, people living through that chop fest in that area must have they gave up.
Yeah, May, June, July. This was like the deep depression. Then you have
Even
August,
longer.
and August was a very bullish month. So, okay, you got a little gains. Then September was nasty again. You're probably puking. October, the whole market was going up. What was DUSK doing? Nothing. So if you're not a patient holder, you're not in that bag anymore. Like, this is everyone else getting out. But same kind of thing, right? You get into here, move sideways through the reload zone. You can sit in the bag, although, like I just said, I think it's really hard to do. Or you can just wait for the buy volume and then say, okay, I'm going to buy a little retest. Oh, nice little dip. And there's a reload zone play here, right? So like these are fractally, right? So you can draw these and say, okay, like we're down into this, so I'm gonna wait for the volume, and then the next time it dips into that reload zone, I'm gonna pick it up, boom, nice. And that's where you get the quick dippy and then the rippy, and you don't have to wait all fucking day. That's what I've been getting better at over time, is patient entries at key levels, and then you don't wait as long. And again, the volume pick up here, okay, add a little more, like whatever. But read the volume and be patient. So DUSK is flying right now. It's doing the thing that I think a lot of coins will eventually be doing in the next few months from these levels. So it's a really nice example for us. Thanks for bringing that up, guys.
That looks really good. That one looks.
Yeah,
I'm not FOMOing into this thing, but
hell no. And that's the thing. I saw guys on Twitter that are like DUSK, and I'm like, oh god, like. And now that same fucking thing that we were just talking about, where you go in the DUSK Telegram or the Discord, and it's like it's going to the moon. It's going to be the $2 coin, and it's just not how you do it. Like, go find the coins. Look, everything in the market is doing this right now, and presumably, as things go, they'll eventually do this. And so where do I want to get long? If I want volatility today, pick it up, sell it here, or short it and sell it there. Like, I don't know. There's no trade here for me, but I think it's a dope coin. Look, let's
take a look at Secret.
Yeah.
Ooh, go ahead.
I'm gonna just do a chaos level, because there are people, maybe they're like, fuck you, man. I've been in DUSK for 4 months. I'm looking for, where's the targets? I mean, this is where I draw my first one. This is gonna be a greasy one though. That's gonna be so far off. There's not a lot of clean chaos levels here. I mean, fib extension lines up, kind of tagged it already, and it's kind of in no man's land here. In that sense, it might be good in the sense that it's going to go up into this kind of zone. So maybe has a little more juice left. I don't know what's going on with DUSK though. Like, in particular, why now? What do they got cooking? I remember Messi was bullish on it like a year ago.
I remember that.
He shielded me on it a little. Yeah, he shielded me on it a little bit, and I was like, okay, cool. Never really understood what they did, but I love a good rally. There's always a bull somewhere. Keep your eyes peeled. Was there some way to spot this and know this was going to happen through the blood? I don't know. Probably tough to know. I think you could have guessed it when, this is looking like the ES mini futures we looked at earlier, right? All that resistance. Like, this looks like the S. This looks like the S&P right now, right here. All these little resistance buildups. It does look a bit like the S&P. DUSK is now the S&P fractal. This is where we're headed. I don't know. But it looks so.
I had a drink with the secret guys this week.
Oh, yeah? Oh.
Yeah,
they're Rust boys. Couple of Rust lattes.
Tor is a great guy. He's been around. He's super sharp. Really sharp guy. He actually comes from an options market making background also. And I know we've got a lot of secret fans here.
I am a huge fan of secret. Fundamentally, like the idea that the end game for DeFi has to have a privacy first layer, that banks and the whole TradFi world, they don't operate in full transparency, so they're gonna love that shit. And it's funny because it's kind of like it's the perfect marriage between crypto and this idea of like anonymity and control over your data. And then, but it has the finance layer on top of it. So like private data or private DeFi, like, yeah. So I'm bullish on it that sense. Now I staked from this, which ended up being a really nice trade setup back in September. Breakthrough quietly, volume coming in, get up into the chaos levels, get the fuck out, have a nice day. But I staked it because I'm so bullish on it, and I didn't want to get chopped out through this into what might end up being like a multi-year bull market. Now, as a trader, this is the part of the holding that makes me feel pain, because I saw this breakdown and then I saw this retest and I thought, oh, fuck me. Like, I could get out at $8 and buy it at $4 and outperform all staking rewards for a year. So that was actually the final time I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be a staker anymore. I think staking is really good if you're just a holder. But if you're a trader and you can spot these levels the way I do in the setups that I like to do, then I should be trading it. Fuck. Gotta have more secret. They don't need me to stake. Their network will be fine. So I did learn that lesson. Again. But look, it's coming into the reload zone like everything else seems to be doing. And sweet spot tag right today. So yeah, like the whole market right now is in a beautiful place if you want to be like a sharp swing trading buyer. And that does not mean that everyone who buys here is going to make money. But it's certainly the way to fucking play the game.
Yeah.
You don't play the game by aping into DUSK that you've never heard of because it's the top of the leaderboard this week. Like that's how you lose the game. You want to play and win. You got to start getting greedy during these fear areas. And there's so much more to it. I don't want to act like it's simple.
Yeah.
But like, I got $100. I'm putting $5 in right there. If it's a coin that I think is really fundamentally strong. If we end up down here, let's go for another $5. If we end up down here, $5 and $5. And, and then by the end of like whatever this ends up being, maybe I've put in $30 or, even less if I only have 100, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there's a lot more to it, but this is the area to start thinking greed. Because I think Secret's going to fuck this year.
I think it probably,
or soon, this year, next year. What's interesting? We interviewed Tor on Frog Radio, which is tonight, by the way, at 9 p.m. Eastern. Plug. We have a weirdly timed one tonight with some Bitcoin DeFi guys. It's going to be cool. So, but we interviewed Tor, and he talked about NFTs on Secret and the benefits you could have from having private first NFTs. And actually, he said that was his favorite use case. Privacy, DeFi, borrow, lend, private. But he said actually the NFTs is where it gets really crazy. So interesting, maybe worth a listen. I'm not going to get into it in depth here, but that caught me off guard because I hadn't even thought about private NFTs. That was weird.
Yeah.
But
he did.
So cool. Yeah. Fuck you. Right click save. It's only my NFT. Like, you can't right click save it. You can't see it. It's secret. So that's interesting. MATIC.
Let's keep our viewers happy.
Satiated. Yeah. I hope they're happy with my voice because I'm losing it here in their name.
And on that note, smash that like button.
Yeah.
The
just with the dopamine. I'm used to coming on here and doing charts while you guys talk, and I jump in here and there. But you and I have been going heavy lately, so if y'all like that, if you appreciate it, God, imagine I had a life and couldn't make it every week. We'd be in deep shit. Luckily, I just live in my basement, so I'm always around, baby. MATIC does actually look decent. Somebody said in the chat it looks decent, and I think it does. Yeah. For all of its bullishness, this is like a real swell of buy volume.
Yeah.
And it's coming into this level that I already had drawn, so we know it's real. No, I'm just kidding. But we've got to support. It's messy. If I was new to TA, I'd be like, why here? Why not here? Why not there? You could definitely draw it here, where it's resistance. It's resistance. It's resistance. It's resistance. So I don't know. But I had it as support when we started. So let's see. I'm just being a little silly now, but let's take a look. Let's get a serious look. That's not a bad time to be, fucking with resistance if you have like an ascending triangle like that. And so in this case, I'd be like a little gun shy here today. Probably be like, oh, can I catch, and then if you get that breakout, that's the squeeze. That's the good stuff.
That would be so sexy.
Yeah. And this swell here is adding some credibility to that might happen, even though the sells here kind of took the cake. But that was that big wash. That was the big wash a few weeks ago. So we can forgive that one sell candle, but the rest is buying volume, and it's all kind of pressing up into this level. So I guess there's two ways, right? Try to play this triangle, which I think is very risky. I hate longing like trend lines. Or get that retest.
There's a few coins that are like in this camp. This is a very different chart setup than most of everything else we've seen today.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is unique. I'm glad somebody mentioned this. This is not like the others. And it's
been performing.
It's still got some targets up there that I like. Let's see what the market cap is. I'm curious. And somebody asked about Atom. We will certainly be charting that. Can't miss out on that. What is it? MATIC, Polygon, yeah. 14 in market cap, 14.5 billion with about 68% supply circulating. So TVL FDV of 21 billion. So it's not too bad. Some room for upside there. Not like relative upside, but it's a blue chip now.
Yeah. Yeah, how about, let's see, we got, so Atom people are looking for, Near, we've seen a bunch people want to see.
Which one?
Near, Near.
Oh, what is that one? I've heard of it. Oh, somebody bought it today. Sky Needle. No, what do you call that? Space Needles.
Space. Yeah, that almost looks not real.
Yeah, it looks like a pump and dump. It's like somebody in a Telegram announced that it was going to pump, and then they all bought it, and the Telegram person that announced it dumped it. That's what that looks like.
Real.
That looks like the guy who DMs you on Discord to tell you to join his pump group and then does that to you.
Oh, it's got the upbit treatment.
Not very nice. Oh, it was an upbit ape. Okay. That makes sense. So the guy on Telegram that told you that it got listed on Upbit, and then the Koreans dumped it on you.
Upbit listings are like the new Binance listings of old.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
For coin exchange, what was that one? What was that little shitcoin one that everyone went underwater? It was in Australia. Coin exchange. I don't know.
Cryptopia? No, where?
Cryptopia. Yeah. Was it Cryptopia?
I don't know.
And that, like Cryptopia shitcoins, when they would go get listed on legit exchanges, this would happen on Cryptopia because they were so illiquid. It was a wild time.
God, they really get after it.
Thank you, Echo. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. That I don't know. I mean, this must be arbitrage, right? Like, this is like, I don't know.
The most intense pumps we've seen are on Upbit listings lately. I mean,
yeah, but like someone here on Binance is like, oh, an Upbit listing, and then they're all FOMOing into it. Like, does anyone make money doing that? I don't know. I feel like the guys doing that would go broke on the 5th or 6th time, and
yeah,
it's weird. It's a weird candle. So I think it's like arbitrage. So they're like buying here to go sell it on Upbit. But I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at Adam, your fan, or your friend, Adam. That's interesting, actually. Look at this. So I kind of like these setups when you get a level and it just pukes and then recovers instantly on higher volume and recovers. Like, there's something to be said about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Every reason in the world to just suck, to just go down, to just die. And then the bears don't show up and the bulls go, fuck you, and we're back.
That looks like a trap.
Yeah. That's like everyone who got stopped out there is just mad now. Butthurt.
But it's still, I mean,
that's on the hourly, but yeah, and that's why I'm only looking at the daily, because that chart makes me want to buy it. This chart makes me want to be a little bit more patient. Trending down. That's all we're doing.
Yeah.
And as someone who spent the first 6 months and really the whole bear market trying to buy the bottom, I've learned that things can take time to clean up. And I don't think, whole bear market, I don't know. But I've learned not to buy downtrends. Let's just put it that way. Giving up 30% at the lows just to make sure you're in an uptrend is like my new thing that I just do. So it doesn't make for great TV sometimes during the downtrends. Everyone's like, ooh. I mean, there's definitely some trades out there. I think people will like appreciate some of this stuff a little more even in January, because what I am going to do, despite my plan to like be a swing trader and yield farmer, is to I'm going to set up like a perps account. Like I'm going to set up like a fun account of a size that is significant but not sweaty, and so I'll actually be a little more active looking for like, what can we trade today? Because I bet there's a ton of great trades out there right now, but I'm just seeing a whole lot of the same setup, which is this. And let's check the RSI, but I bet it's ticking up again. Yeah, kind of. On the last lows, the RSIs are not making new lows. So there is an inherent bullishness lurking. And I think that'll amount to probably like a market-wide squeeze up to some of these levels. Or, whether that's like, well,
right.
If you want to be a bear, you can end it like that. But
yeah,
at least a retest of something. We'll see. That's Adam. IMX. Oh, weird one. Huobi? Immutable. Oh, yeah. Immutable X is on FTX. Isn't this like an NFT thing? I
don't know, but that looks like a full cycle.
Yeah, I remember being bullish on it. Again, new chart, right? So you don't get a ton of history. We haven't had a real sense of what the market thinks of this coin yet. We've had less than a month, really. Well, a month and a bit. So at least on this one, maybe I should go look at like the full history. Might have a much better history. Not much. So I'd like to see a little bit more from this to have any conviction. But if I wanted to trade it, it's certainly into my zone. It's just that when you have, and this is important, like when you have, months of this, you can say like, okay, it's formed a base. And then that breakout comes and then the reload zone of that, like messy drawings. But, this reload zone is an area I can look for it, but I have much lower conviction because these things, as we know, can just lose their lunch for a little bit. I don't know where it would end up, but it's just less of a base there. So we'll see.
Yeah. How about helium?
I bet there's guys in the chat that know a lot more about IMX than I do, and they should, NFT gaming L2 for ETH. So that's dope. I mean, and I remember getting shilled on the Immutable X thinking like, damn, I wish it was in, buy zone. So maybe I should just shut up and pick some up. I'm going to DCA. I think I'm going to DCA because I actually do remember right up here. Where was it? Like somewhere like right at some really like it was just pumping and somebody's like, dude, you got to get some of this. And I was like, oh, go figure. I'm getting shilled at the highs. So I think I do need to, I remember being pretty butthurt that I didn't have any. So I'm going to channel that and pick some up for, like a 2022 hold bag. Just DCA into a little bit here. Fuck it. You got me, Vic. NFT gaming L2 for ETH. Why not?
I mean, NFT, check the box. Gaming, check the box. L2
check the box.
For ETH, we haven't looked at ETHBTC yet, so we're going to have to check in on that in a bit. Because that was...
Well, you remember last week on the Wednesday, it was green and it was sticking up, and I said, you got to watch those weekly closes because if this does close red, it's just going to look like a nasty rejection at weekly resistance, which is what it is. But I have another view of ETH, which I think might be interesting, if nothing else for contrast. This looks like, okay, chill out. I need a few weeks to navigate this resistance. But then look here. The 3-day drawn another way just looks like a sick-ass level. Looks like, hey, we had
wants to go higher.
Like, yeah. Like, without overcomplicating it, you have higher lows coming in. You have a breakout of a key resistance. And now we're retesting it. And if you look at the volume, well, not a massive breakout in volume, but definitely like bulls came in here and said, let's go. And the selling on the pullback has been very insignificant. So you say it, Rob. I mean, you can nutshell that much better than I can. I'm a very long-winded speaker.
No, I mean, gun to my head, I think it's going higher.
I think like elastic gun to your head, it's going higher.
Gun to my head, it might go a lot higher.
Like BB gun to your foot, and you're still probably calling higher. No threat at all required. It's just it's ETHBTC.
So what does that mean? It means that I guess if you're going to be long and maybe be in Ethereum rather than Bitcoin.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what it means. It means that this is going to lose its lunch, this Bitcoin dominance. It's sitting on a precarious level of lows.
Yeah.
ETHBTC, like this is weekly resistance, but the next one is a huge gap up. What is that? Like 10, 20%? 25%. And there's a ton of confluence up there. So that does look like a level that wants to get tagged if we get through this. And if you look at the 3-day, it looks like, oof.
Yeah. If you look at it here.
God, I love this chart. Like this is a slow ass, boring chart. Like we've been charting this basically since I started working with you last June. I distinctly recall charting it down here when I first made this chart. Whoop. Yeah. And I was putting it on our Twitter at Real Hero Labs. And this was 56 days. I remember because I counted them. And it was like, are we ever going to break out? And then it just kind of went boop. And then it just went. And then it was like, oh no, bear market soup. Like it's been a ride. I've been watching this chart. My God.
The bottom line here is like, if you converted your Bitcoin into ETH when you started looking at it, you'd have more Bitcoin. 4 times more Bitcoin.
That's the math. Well, 2.5. 2.25.
Yeah, I remember. What was the low? 2.8?
Oh, like something? The absolute low?
I just remember we had.
Where I had an actionable long was really like 2.5. Like a breakout from this, because this was the level, right? This was like the bear market, right? It was like support. We lost it through the depths of the bear. And so once you regain that and retest it, which was like basically on like July 14th last year, to me, that was like an actionable, like, okay, I can fucks with this.
Yeah.
We're coming out of like a multi-year level. And it actually even came back and was kind enough to give an entry to anyone who missed it last December.
Yeah.
I forgot last December was this crazy. Holy shit.
Oh, last December,
I don't know what I was doing. I was just like high or something.
Sitting on a big bag of AVAX, and it was like 280 stellar. Like everything started to kind of pick up, but alts were not. Last December was not a good month for altcoins. Not good.
It's all the way back here. Oh yeah, wow. Yeah, I remember that. AVAX was so unappealing when it started. It was just nothing but down and sideways. Like DOT and AVAX did the same thing. And I think a lot of that, they had similar stories, right? They both had their sales, then they both weren't live trading for a while, so there was like a lot of OTC sales going on. And then when they finally went live, there was just a lot of offloading from guys who had been holding for over a year. In DOT's case, I think 3 years. So yeah, very similar launches. But yeah, I forgot about this being this dark last December. Jesus.
Dude, it was a year ago. It was literally $2.80.
Actually, because that was, oh God. I'm missing by a year. I'm like, that was the end of the bear. It's like, no, 2020 was actually pretty bullish. But yeah, and then look at it. Holy shit.
Crazy.
Like, I forget how crazy that AVAX pump was. Holy shit.
Insane.
When you look at it a different way, it's like just never, losing conviction. Imagine losing conviction in your bag, like here. It happens, man. It happens. I've done it. I'm sure I sold AVAX actually at 3 something. I wimped out of a bag early January. Pretty sure I remember talking about that. Let's pretend it didn't happen. And then, wow.
Unbelievable. That thing moves. And then you had whole nother chance to buy it cheap.
In the reload zone. If anyone's tuning in for the first time, they'll be like, holy shit, these reload zones. If you've been here a while, you're like, okay, we get it. But look, same shit. Some of these 88.6s, like Dan's favorite level in the world. Find me something that's come 88% off of its highs and is still fundamentally bullish, and I will buy it from the pessimists, and I will sell it to optimists a year later. Well,
imagine being a believer down there. Imagine holding that from $2. It goes up to 60. You didn't sell any, and then all of a sudden it's back down to
10.
Oh my!
Yeah, God. Only 500% up. And you'd feel like shit. And then, but now we're just up into the 140s last month.
Yeah.
I'm not too excited about it here. I'm very excited about it long term. It's not my biggest bag. I do have a position that I'm going to keep indefinitely. I should start lending it or something. I should probably stick it on like Banker Joe, or because you should be getting a yield on it. It's like I'm just sitting there, but yeah, I'm either going to skim my bags here if things look weak as fuck and they get into this zone because I want to get more, and the best way to get more, I think, in a bear market is to sell and buy cheaper. And this is not where you sell to buy cheaper. Like, hey, it's bearish, I'm going to sell here so I can buy here. It's like, no.
Yep.
Counter trend that shit. And that way, like, if I'm wrong and I do end up selling some here and then it goes above here, I can just buy it back and eat a little bit of shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sorry, not to go back over AVAX again, but for now, I just think it's, it has to cool down. It just, like, it had to cool down back here. Nobody wanted to hear it. It was like up or die. Well, give it a few months, and then it was talk of the town. So I think we're just into a little bit of sideways consolidation now for a little while.
Yeah.
What's happening? Oh,
that Hxro. Yeah, we've got.
Yes, tell Jitesh.
We got some good stuff coming in Hxro. Our derivatives. We're gonna have an alpha on mainnet soon. We're really excited about the next 3 months here. So you're going to be hearing a lot more from us very shortly. We are working hard. Devs are really grinding. So a lot of exciting stuff coming. Thanks
Q1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Luna, we haven't looked at that one yet.
Let's talk a little bit about ICE, because somebody said, based on what you were just saying about ICE is having a good day today, actually. It's weird because it doesn't look like it. Yeah, it doesn't look like much, right? Now the premise of him bringing this up, he said, that's how I feel about my ICE bag. I didn't sell high enough. Like, I didn't sell enough when it was up high. Trust me, dude, I barely sold any. I think I cut 3% of my bag at $59. And that's it. And then it kept going up. It actually went higher than this chart shows. I think it went to like 71. So, like, yeah, I feel you, dude. I cut a tiny little bit, and then I was like, oh no, man, I'm going to be a holder, and I didn't trade it. But look, it's up like 25% off the lows already. You can get a really greasy 30%. You get a really greasy gain if you can get into these muddy areas. And look at this. So we've got the Wyckoff throwback to like previous all-time highs. I don't know if that's what you call it, Wyckoff throwback. Either way, it's a throwback to previous all-time highs. Not a Wyckoff trader, but I keep hearing that. I think it's more about breakout levels. But either way, throwback to all-time highs, tags it right around the 88.6 that we've been talking about. We love. Same thing with this RSI kind of creeping up over the last few weeks. Pick your divergence. There's a couple in there. Tie the ones that are close together so they're legit. And, sentiment is at a very low, where I like to buy things. So I like this. Even though I didn't sell much of my ICE, so I don't really have any business buying more. But if I was objectively coming in fresh bag, looking at this chart, I'd say it's pretty close to like an area. Well, it's definitely in the area I want to buy now. It's a matter of like how much of this do we get before it's like the fastest horse in the park. How many of those do we need to see before it's like opportunity cost, right? This is opportunity cost. As long as you're not getting a high yield, which right now I don't think it is. I think it's 29%.
Not too bad.
Oh, you froze there for a sec. I was like, God damn it.
Not too
Rob,
bad.
don't do that to me, bro. You did the scarecrow. I was like, oh, we lost him. But so ICE, which one did you say? We got a couple. Well, shit, it's 6:38. We got time for a couple more. We have that Frog Radio. It's a weird time tonight. So I'm actually going to be live on that in 2 hours. So I do want to stop and like be a father for like an hour or two. Hear the baby crying. What do you got? Luna?
Yeah, Luna. Let's take a look at Arweave. Someone asked about that earlier.
Oh, we got to look at Sushi.
Yeah, Sushi.
We got to look at Sushi. Sushi, actually, Sushi, oof, I can't believe I didn't have that on the short list today. That's Luna. This shows you what I think about Luna. I don't know. Luna's got some things that I don't understand fully. Like with the burning and the UST, it's way more bullish than I give it credit for fundamentally. It's in a dip.
Retest here, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
no, yeah. That's another way to look at it right here. And maybe that's just keep it simple, right? Volume into the highs. It did kind of roll over like everything else. It didn't roll over nearly as hard, which I think is internal strength. Something we should pay attention to. Yeah. And 53 was a sweet throwback. And if you're just saying, you know what, fuck bull, fuck bear, whatever, I'm just a bull and I want to buy more and I want to buy more at the right levels, well then usually, if not, you know, these big sweeping reload zones that we're very fortunate. I know it doesn't feel like it, but we're very fortunate to get these. Because like Rob said, you know, a lot of traditional markets, you don't get these kinds of like full cycles, like over years you might get them. Depending what kind of stocks you're playing in. Some of them just never come back to that. They just like tag and go and tag and go. So I feel fortunate we get these cycles. I find them easier. I like loading up in these kinds of zones. We may not get that from Luna. I mean, look at everything today seems to be down here. Luna's like, nah, I haven't even touched my PCZ yet. I haven't even touched my 382. So
been a performer.
The fuck's your problem, Luna? Not coming into the levels. So it looks really strong.
It does.
So I would just say that. I don't know how I can get into that coin when I've got so many of these like reload zones and other opportunities that are a little juicier. Maybe it comes down to like conviction is so high on this one that it's, you know, you can get a worse deal and still feel good, but I don't have that conviction. I'd have to read up more on it. It should just be enough with how much good stuff I've heard from all the right people, but I'm chintzy. Yeah. What can I say? I want to buy it. I want to buy it down here.
Let's take a look at SUSHI.
Yeah, we gotta look at SUSHI. Full U-turn sentiment-wise for me, and it's almost perfect because SUSHI's been a bag of shit for quite a while here.
It's literally been a giant turd.
Yeah, for basically since the highs, obviously. You like to look back when it was the heyday in March. So even like through the May highs, it sucked. I mean, it had one little pop where everyone's like, oh my God, SUSHI. And I remember, I don't know. Oh, maybe. I don't know. I remember that day, though. We were charting it and we were talking about, you know, maybe all-time highs, and the next day the market rugged. But here's what happened fundamentally. Danny, our boy, Danny Sesta, he put in a proposal to essentially come on as sort of a visionary leader within the SUSHI community. In other words, folding it into his, you know, the ecosystem, the frog ecosystem. So you have Abracadabra, you have Popsicle Finance, and you have MIM and Spell and Time, and now you have SushiSwap, a multi-chain AMM, and he's talking about, you know, adding all kinds of stuff to it, so it's way more than a Uniswap V2 fork. And so that is what changed here, and that's the volume we saw 3 days ago. There's mixed opinions from the SUSHI community. Go figure. It's a bit of a dumpster fire over there. What I was reading in the comments just made my head spin. It was like, there's a lot of in-house fighting and opinions about how to move forward. And people saying he's too busy, he's got too many projects, he shouldn't have anything to do with us. I think that's crazy. I think they need help, and I think he's got the friggin' brain power and the community around himself to bail them out of this. And I think it's insane that somebody who cares about their bags would reject somebody to, like, imagine being Danny and like offering to even take that on. I don't know. I think it's a lot of work for him. So I'm excited about it. I picked up some SUSHI through this because I think that that's a really, you know, if it's going to be a Danny bag, then it's got to be in my bags. So I'm a big fan of SUSHI at this 786 area, 5s and 6 area. And it's just a proposal for now. He tweeted out this morning that he's going to work on the proposal some more, so maybe he's listening to the feedback. He's going to... But, look, I don't think he's the kind of guy that would put out a proposal like that if he didn't have a pretty good idea that it would pass. I don't... You know, I have no reason to believe that he, you know, can control the vote. But I feel like, you know, he's got a pretty good idea of what he can do there, and I think it's going to pass. I feel it in my bones. Nice. Now, if it's wrong and that gets rejected, I'm probably eating shit and I'm underwater, and all other things considered, this chart still kind of looks like shit. So I'm betting on that proposal passing and things being better. Like, if you look at this, there's no W's in sight on the weekly. It's just like higher low, lower high, lower high, lower high, drop. Like there's nothing here to get excited about except for that fundamental shift that just took place and could potentially get stamped. And I think that would do really well for Sushi.
Yeah.
So that's,
I mean, if nothing else,
yeah.
it's moving. It's tradable. I mean, it's like,
yeah. Oh, it's super liquid too.
Yeah.
It's super liquid. Like you can get in and out of pretty good sized positions. And, you know, and another patient trader I know who I respect a lot for no other reason than just TA, you know, he picks him up last week just because it's at his level, 786. He said, yeah, I'm long Sushi as well. And he's going to long it to this wick, which I think is a pretty good invalidation for me as well. So I think I'm long like 6. You know, so I'm risking 27%. It's not nothing. And you know, getting up to this level just to like get my sauce back, and then I can you know, see where I'm going to go from there.
Yeah.
I'd probably take my initial profit here. So maybe that's not the greatest setup technically, 2-1. But take initial profit here, move stop loss to break even. Like if I'm going to be a trader about it, for me, it's more like a Danny bag thing. So if it moves up from here, I'm probably just holding it because looking back, you're going to be like, you know, I feel like there's a good chance in a year you could look back and be like, damn, what a snipe at that low.
Probably.
It's probably got a good potential to be a low, right? Like a low range, however that looks. And then wherever we end up going, like it's like, oh, remember Sushi when it pivoted to Danny Town? So that's kind of how I picture it. Traders got to trade, and we lose a lot, but that's where I'm long right now, on spot.
Yep.
No leverage in this house.
Well, you know what? This was a treat because we really got a lot of charts in. We got a lot of requests from our amazing followers.
Yeah, man. Alan says, bring your son on stream sometime, RT. It'd be cute to see him. I would. You know what? There's so much of this, like, babies on Twitter with blacked out faces. Like, everyone's, like, freaked out about putting their kids on. I don't have a strong opinion on that. I would probably just bring him on and then just get told I'm a bad parent because they're like, you're doxing your son's face. I'm like, it looks like a friggin' baby in a diaper commercial. Like, you know, they all look the same, but I'd be down to do that. Maybe one day he'll poke his head onto stream. He's so cute. He's such a little Gerber baby. All right. I don't know what the Gerber baby is, but he's such a little goober. Okay, let's go back to the studio, man. It's been a great show today, guys. Having you all here, so active in the chat. I'm looking here, but I'm like seeing the chat buzzing, and I appreciate it. So thank you guys for coming out. And yeah, hit the like button. Paul Paris, thank you for pointing that out. There's room for a few more likes. We got a good ratio today, though. That's it for us today, guys. We've got, again, I'll be live again. You can hear this slowly crispifying voice as it slowly dies again today, but I'll be live in about 2 hours on Frog Radio. So @_Frog Radio, something like that. On Twitter, y'all know what it is. So you can come see Messi and I there, and we're going to learn about yield and Bitcoin and some heavy duty OGs in the Bitcoin space are going to come talk about what they're building on the DeFi side. So that's kind of cool.
DeFi? Bitcoin?
Yeah. I know. Apparently it's a thing. I don't know anything about it. Frankly, I didn't even know we were going to be doing this episode until about 6 hours ago. So, yeah.
All right.
But no, it's going to be fun. It'll be fun. We're going to learn about
I'm going to tune in.
Yield. And Messi will be there. I have it on good authority that he'll be available. So, yeah, come and find out how to yield on your Bitcoins. That's what we're doing tonight. I'll be live on Friday morning this week. So I'm not going to do the Hero Labs lives in the afternoon. I'm going out for drinks with my mom on Friday at the Christmas market. So it's getting into that season. So we're gonna go live Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. Until next time, guys, whatever you do, always play from a position of strength. Take care.
All right, guys.